not turning y'all off.
If I could request a night.
Tell them what's going to come out of this corner.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 15th, 2020 meeting of the Camden County Board of Education. I'd like to ask for consideration of open session agenda changes.
Yes, sir. We need to, I'd request that you remove item A under information updates and item C.
Anyone else? Entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended. Motion by Dr. Banks to accept the October 15th, 2020 meeting agenda of the Camden Board of Education, seconded by Mr. Heath. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. If everyone will please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you for your consideration. Public comment.
Yes, sir. We have 3 people signed up.
All right. Citizens who are residents of Camden County and who signed up to address the board will be called up in sign-up order. Each individual speaker will be allowed 3 minutes for remarks. Issues or concerns involving personnel complaints related to identifiable school personnel or student matters are not appropriate for this public forum. After 30 minutes of public hearing, any speakers remaining will be recognized at the end of the agenda. First, we have Jennifer Lilly.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to take this opportunity to address the board and actually give a word of thanks. We were talking, I do work at both schools, both the high school and the early college. I'm here representing the early college. We were talking about the Wednesdays, the remote learning Wednesdays that we currently have on the schedule. And it just came to mind that maybe it's a good opportunity to address all of you and thank you for putting that on our calendar and in our schedule. So I thought I might take you through like the typical Wednesday at Camden Early College. So we start with a 3-hour meeting usually. I know you're very jealous. Usually a lot of that has been lately the reentry planning. And as things have changed and come down from the state and different agencies, we've had to use a lot of that time for reentry planning. We also use that time to do school improvement planning. So we adjust our goals, and some of our needs this year have changed. So just tweaking those and doing school improvement planning. And MTSS, so the multi-tiered system of support, where we identify specific student needs and how we can best address those for students. So that's all morning for us. So the afternoon looks like individual support for students. So this is where teachers identify specific students that might have some targeted needs. They reach out to those students and they do personalized Zooms. It's usually individual, but sometimes it will be a small group. We also utilize that time. Some teachers prefer to have an open Zoom time. So they may have a 2-hour block and they leave an open Zoom running while they're at their desk, and the students can pop in and out to get help on whatever it is they need help on. But probably I would say, and I speak for them tonight, that the most important thing we do during that time is support our COA students. So during this time, our students know who have the COA classes, that's when they come and they get Miss Bush to edit their papers for English class. They reach out to Mr. Loggy about a biology lab that they don't understand at COA. Or they reach out to the history teacher for help preparing for a test for their college class. On a personal note, I do work with the special needs population there. I have seen a very big increase in the amount of students that are requiring different mental health services, therapy services, private. And so that's a time where I can encourage those parents to please schedule any therapies or any doctor's appointments that they need during that time. So therefore, it doesn't take away from my service time with them or take them out of their regular classes. So really just a moment to say thank you to the board for the foresight in putting that in our calendar and how much we at the early college really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Melissa Miller.
If I remove my mask. Okay. Good evening, board members. I would just like to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I come to you as a parent of two children, one child in 4th grade and one child in 10th grade. First, I'd like to just say I want to approach the 4th grade perspective. My 4th grader came back to school this week, which I'm so thankful for a number of reasons. I think mental health is probably the most he's really needed to be in school for mental health reasons. Being away from his peers, his teachers, the school structure and setting has been really hard. However, I want to thank you for the Wednesday remote learning day, because I have seen what the mask did. It was really hard for him to wear a mask for 2 days. We practiced a little bit at home, but that full day of wearing a mask was pretty difficult. And I think we've asked our children to do some pretty extraordinary things. Social distancing from their friends in the school setting is difficult, something they've never had to do. So they're getting used to that. And of course, wearing the masks and not being away from their classroom except for bathroom breaks is, I think, how it is. So I think Wednesdays are a good break for them, but most of all for our younger grade teachers. I think they need that day. And I talked with his teacher and she said preparing a lesson for remote learning students, since we have that option for some students, preparing that lesson is necessary on Wednesdays, and they need that day to continue to prepare those lessons because it takes about 4 times as long to prepare those lessons as it does for in classroom teaching. So I just want to thank you for that day from the younger grade perspective. Now, for the older grade perspective, my 10th grader, we use that day, like Miss Lilly said, to catch up on assignments. I work very closely with Ryan's teachers, but I also work very closely with Ryan. He needs guidance on most, if not all, of his assignments. Otherwise, not only would they not get turned in, well, I'll say not only would they be incomplete, but they probably would not get turned in. So Wednesday is a good day for us to kind of catch up. But it's a day where I can kind of step back. I work full time, but I'm fortunate enough to work full time in the home. So every lunch break, every afternoon break, I'm checking on Ryan, seeing that he's in the Zoom meeting. Not having scheduled Zoom meetings on that day kind of gives me a break. So I'm really in tune with what Ryan's assignments are. Wednesday is a nice break for me, but it's a nice break for him too. But I know that if I needed to get in touch with one of his teachers, they're there for us on that day. And I thank you for giving them that day to allow us to reach out to them, be it in a small group or individually. I can't say enough about Miss Lilly. I just want to tell you, she is phenomenal. Um, she didn't know I was going to say this, but I work with her every single day. I meet with her a few minutes in the morning. We kind of get the day going, and I couldn't do all the work I do with Ryan without Miss Lilly. She is a wonderful, wonderful person, but she is a true, true asset to Camden County High School, the special needs population. And I just think you need to know that. And I couldn't be the fifth teacher, so to speak, without her. Thank you very much for Wednesday's remote learning, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for sharing. Lori Worthington.
Good evening. I'm Lori Worthington, a sixth grade teacher at Camden Intermediate School. And on behalf of the teachers at Camden Intermediate, we would like to sincerely thank you for including a weekly remote learning day in the school schedule for us. This remote learning day allows teachers to have time to create digital resources that can be shared through Zoom and Google Classroom for our virtual students. These resources are being created from scratch, which is very time consuming. This allows teachers to continue to provide the standard of education our students are accustomed to in Camden. Without the additional planning time, we would not be able to maintain that same level of instruction. At CIS, we do not have any teachers who are assigned to teach only virtual students. All of our teachers are teaching face-to-face students and virtual students simultaneously. We are able to Zoom with the virtual students during our face-to-face instruction. However, the regular school day does not allow time for us to meet with the virtual students individually or in small groups to address their needs. The Wednesday remote learning days provide an opportunity for our virtual students to receive this much needed support. Our teachers take great pride in providing quality instruction to our students. We want to make sure that we meet the needs of all of our learners, both face-to-face and virtual. We want to let you know how valuable this day is or has become for us and how it is benefiting our students in return. So thank you again for keeping kids first in Camden County.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment, and I would like to ask Ms. Lizzie Fields if she will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. I guess during our COVID-19, we had a kind of relaxing time of more spotlights, but we got a couple that we would like to present this evening. And so this time, I'd like to invite Anita Robinson, principal of Camden Intermediate School, to join me. Ms. Robinson, tonight the Board of Education would like to recognize Camden Intermediate School. We have learned that CIS was recently recognized by Curriculum Associates as a 2020 iReady Distinguished School for Remote Learning Success. CIS received this distinction as a result of students' iReady personalized instruction, usage, and diagnostic data. CIS students were defined as connected with Curriculum Associates for having using iReady in at least 4 distinct weeks following the closure of our schools during the period March 15th through May 22nd. iReady is a comprehensive assessment and instruction program that empowers teachers with the resources they need to help all students succeed. It enables teachers to determine each student's own grade level, proficiencies in math and reading. The data identifies where students are their strongest and where they need further assistance. Teachers are then able to provide a more targeted instruction to students with both print and digital curriculum, resources, and lessons. iReady monitors students' online usage and tests passing rates on their digital lessons. Ms. Robinson, this is an impressive recognition for your school. This recognition is reflective of the high academic standards achieved by your staff during unexpected and undocumented circumstances. It is obvious that the disruptions of COVID were not allowed to require less of your staff or students at Camden Intermediate School. So on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I want to thank you and your staff for their commitment to our students. So we'd like to present this board spotlight from the Camden County Board of Education. Presents this certificate to Camden Intermediate School for the outstanding contributions to the Camden County Public School System. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, on behalf of Camden Intermediate School, thank you for the spotlight. Our teachers and our students certainly do deserve this recognition for having kept our students focused during a very hard time back in March. So, when we received this award, I told my staff that I initially kind of smirked at it because it wasn't like the Distinguished Award for State Testing, but but after a little bit more reflection, it does spotlight and show how hard our students work, despite the fact that they were at home and away from their teachers. And so, thank you for recognizing us tonight. Appreciate it.
October is designated National Principals Month. Camden County Schools is fortunate to have amazing principals in our schools. Each year, administrators from across the district vote to select a Principal of the Year. This year's Principal of the Year is Mr. LeVar Mazzell, Principal of Camden Middle School. So here are a few things that his colleagues had to say about Mr. Mazzell. Mr. Mazzell did an outstanding job as the leader of the Camden County Schools reentry team, and he has greatly improved the morale of Camden Middle School. Mr. Mazzell's ability to understand the importance of school culture is unparalleled, and as a result, the culture of CMS has transformed into a positive learning environment for all students. Mr. Mazzell has changed the culture of CMS and is very supportive of his staff. And Mr. Mazzell is exceptional in all areas of school leadership. So his selection as Camden County Schools Principal of the Year, Mr. Mazzell will go on to compete at the regional and state level. So thank you, Mr. Mazzell, for all that you do for the students and staff of Camden Middle School. For you as well, we have a board spotlight for the Camden County Board of Education. Presents this certificate to LeVar Mazzell for the outstanding contributions to the Camden County Public School System. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You like to say anything?
We do have a couple of other things for
Sure.
Mr. Mazzell.
We have gifts.
We do.
Somebody bring gifts
Oh,
for us.
wow.
So, on behalf of the Board of Education and, the central office, there are some goodies for you. And, having
I'll
spent,
hold this for you until you get your other one.
having spent a few years in the principal's office myself, one of the things that I am well aware of is that you never know what's gonna happen in the life of a principal. So we wanted to give you a memorable, here's a nice story for you. This says LeVar Mazzell, Camden County Schools Principal, year 2020.
I
Should
appreciate
you
it.
ever need that in the future.
Well,
Turn this way.
this is great. Well, I needed this last week. Thank you so much for, first of all, thank you for your support as principal of Camden Middle School. We have had a great time, and we're in year 3, and we have achieved some amazing wins. There's an amazing staff out at Camden Middle School. The students are amazing. The parents are amazing. And my colleagues, Mr. Lazar, Ms. Davis, Ms. Robinson, and Ms. Stevens, there's some great people. And I can truly say that I work with some truly amazing, fantastic, whatever the adjectives are, they are great. And I'm just so blessed to be in a place where I can call home and I can call a place that I love to work and I can get up and come every day. So thank you for your vote of confidence. And we're going to take our extinguisher and make sure that nothing else catches on fire. Thank you so much. I can take it. Thank you, sir.
Open session to appear.
No one has requested to appear.
Thank you,
before the
sir. Consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Heath to approve the consent agenda. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Information updates. Superintendent Farrell to give an update on school openings.
Well, we opened school on Monday, and from my perspective, things have gone very, very well. Obviously, traffic was an interesting thing. I want to give a shout out to our staff for helping with that. Our sheriff, Kevin Jones, also helped with that, and many members of his staff, and I'd like to express my appreciation about that. Um, I'm going to ask or give Mr. Lazar and Ms. Robinson an opportunity to share anything that they want to share. But before they do that, I want to thank the two of them, as well as Lisa Byram at Grandy Primary School and Sean Lynham at CIS. And of course, the amazing, amazing teachers that we have in Camden, as you well know, and all of the other staff members who've come together and welcomed our students back. Parents were excited. They were lined up like it was Black Friday. Some of them posted and things like that. So that's a good thing. But it was, we learned a few things the first day. Needed some additional thermometers. We ordered those. Needed a few additional other items and took care of getting that. But it was really great to see students, and they were all wearing their little masks, some of them just really, really cute. And they seemed to be used to it and they were happy. And so it was a great thing. And so, Mr. Lazar, Ms. Robinson, anything you all would like to share?
You said it all. We had a great open house. We started with a great open house. We almost had 100% in every single one of our classrooms. Parents were really eager to get out there. We had a great opportunity to take some photo opportunities because parents couldn't come in the building. So we had a chance to that kindergartner take that picture of my first year in kindergarten. So great first week, and it's only going to get better. So thank you for your help and support.
I would like to thank the amazing, just the district showed up at CIS on Monday morning. School board members were there, cabinet members were there, principals were there, nurses were there to help us welcome our students back to school. We had a seamless Monday and Tuesday and Thursday. Just walking around, going into classrooms, seeing kids learn. And the amazing thing about this week is that those relationships, I can tell were already built during the remote period because kids, skipped the honeymoon stage and they were right in there joking around with teachers and having a good time. So thank you for everything, the planning, the meetings, all paid off, and we're excited to be back at school. Our kids are excited, our teachers are excited, and so thank you for everything.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments. Good. All right. Student board members updates, Ms. Fields and Ms. O'Neill.
I'll start with the Grandy primary updates. Granite Primary School staff participated in online courses that supported healthy living for both students and adults that was sponsored by Trillium. Each staff member was required to participate in 3 courses. Grandy had the most participation based on the number of employees in the region. For that, the school received a check for $5,000. Along with the school check, several individual staff members received gift cards for their participation. The extra funds will be used for school supplies, but the knowledge gained was priceless. Last week, GPS had open house, and it was great to see our students and families back in the building. Meetings were scheduled for 30 to 60 minutes to ensure parents had enough time to answer questions and students could get to know their teachers. Considering all the restrictions, it was a positive experience. Grandy Primary had a great first day of school, and GPS wants to thank the parents, staffs, and students for working so hard despite some of the restrictions and challenges. It was a great day. And as for Camden Intermediate School, CIS was super excited to welcome back students this week and had a wonderful week back so far. CIS is going to do a celebration for Kaylee Rios. They have invited the family and are still waiting to finalize some of the details, but once they have them, invitations will be sent out. As for the middle school, CMS hosted a drive-through and tour for students to prepare them for returning to learning in the building under Plan B. The drive-through for the 8th graders was held on Tuesday from 1 to 5, and the combination tour for 7th grade families and new families to the district was held yesterday from 1 to 5. CMS is excited about opening the doors to students on Monday. For the early college, they had the re-entry COVID student packet pickups this week. Our parent-student handbook has been posted on the website and Facebook. They are in the process of putting together a re-entry video that will be posted on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As for the high school, CCHS has been busy preparing for the return of students. They have released a frequently asked questions for return to campus, a COVID-19 parent-student handbook, and a student procedures video on our social media pages and website. We are holding a 9th grade school tour next week and have grade level parent-student Q&A Google Meet scheduled for the next week as well. We had a NC math check and testing today in which we were able to do a small trial run for our entry and dismissal procedures. We have also had graduation packet information drive-thrus for seniors, senior portraits, and parking pass pickup. Our benefit for Jordan Lee auction and fundraiser finished up September 18th, and our amazing school and community raised over $22,000. So thank you to everyone who helped us with this.
All right. Thank you for the updates, lady. Anybody have any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Action agenda, proposed budget for 2020-2021 fiscal year. Sally Norfleet.
In your packets, I know you have the proposed budget for this year. It has been a challenge with our shortfall that we had, but between the CARES Act funding and some other things I was able to move around, I was able to bridge that gap. So I have the budget ready for approval, not knowing when the state's going to approve their budget this year because they never approved their budget last year. So I figured I'd go ahead and get ours approved so I can get it in the system and we can get everything rolling and see where we're at. Did you have any questions about the budget?
So my recommendation is that you approve the proposed budget for 2021 fiscal year as presented by Ms. Norfleet.
Motion.
Motion by Dr. Banks to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the proposed budget for 2020-2021 fiscal year as presented by Ms. Norfleet.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norfleet.
Thanks, Sally.
Dr. Billy Berry to discuss beginning teacher support program plan.
Our beginning teacher support program plan was last updated in 2018. We are required to get that approved by the Board of Education anytime there's a change to State Board Policy TECD 016. A policy change was made in September that required a change to the plan. The only change to this plan from the previous plan is on page 4, and that is that first-year teachers in Camden County Schools will participate in a survey that's required by the legislature to evaluate the performance of their educator preparation program. So this change was made in that bottom bullet on page 4, and the rest of the plan remains the same. Any questions?
To approve the plan for beginning teacher support as presented by Dr. Berry.
Motion approved. Motion by Mr. Heath to approve the superintendent's recommendation for beginning teacher support program plan as presented by Dr. Berry. Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Superintendent Farrell, resolution to clarify intention of bond referendum funding.
So I'm a little hesitant to say this in our current circumstances, but I couldn't connect to the internet tonight, so I don't have it in front of me. I'm sure it was me. It was user error. But so I'll talk really quickly about that and then give you all an opportunity to discuss it as well. You had asked at the last board meeting, because you felt it was extremely important that the public know that your intent is to use any bond funds toward the building of a new high school and for no other purpose. The legal language, some federal and state guidelines require that the language that's actually on the ballot for the bond referendum say things like renovation and purchase of land and acquisition and things like that. But we obviously, the county already owns the land for the building of the new high school, and you felt it was important that the public know that you intend to use all of the $33 million, if approved, toward building the new high school. And so in your packet, you have the actual resolution, and we would make that public if you all approve that tonight. And obviously, that's my recommendation that you approve it.
Motion by Dr. Banks to approve the resolution to clarify intention of bond referendum funding as presented by Dr. Farrell. Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent's recommendations from closed session.
I recommend that you approve the personnel report as presented by Dr. Berry in closed session.
Motion by Mr. Heath to accept the superintendent's recommendation for employment of personnel as presented by Dr. Berry in closed session. Second. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Announcements. We still have 2 community meetings for the bond referendum for the public. Next one is Tuesday, October 20th at 6:30 p.m. at Camden County High School in the cafeteria. And Tuesday, October 27th, 6:30 p.m. at the South Camden Fire Department in Shiloh. And the North Carolina School Board Association Annual Conference will be virtual from Thursday, November 5th through Saturday, November 7th.
And Mr. Overton, before
Yes,
we
sir.
leave tonight, I'm going to need to know which board members want to register for that so that we can get you registered.
Okay. I will need registration. I do know.
And so if the rest of you, you don't have to let me know right now, but at some point.
You go ahead and you register me as well.
Okay. Okay. Any other business or future agenda items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Dr. Banks, seconded by Ms. Idlet, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming. Have a good evening.